are live. Welcome to my video. This is going to be my thoughts on Andor Season 2, Episode 5, I Have Friends Everywhere. Now, the episode is rated probably TV-14. So will this video be, and like all other videos I've done on the show so far, absolutely love this episode. There will be spoilers for it and everything Star Wars leading up to it. Let's dive right in. So, yeah, so sad to see the Gorman front buy it hook, line, and sinker. You know, the thing, you know, I can't believe the ISB are going to check for bugs in my office. I'm being arrested. This is outrageous. And then, you know, when he comes back, yeah, they're like, he's definitely gonna be, you know, on our side now. And they just accept the, you know, like, it is good information, it is the truth, but at what cost? You know, they're gonna, yeah, just, I think the, yeah, I'll briefly, so the, yeah, the idea with the, what's the word? Right, and although, yeah, they're actually, they do the, you know, he hands over the information in such a public place, you know, like, yeah, they say, oh, no, we're safe here. How can you be so sure that not one person is gonna see that? And, like, yeah, but the, you know, he gets another spider, this one for his mom, and she's like, oh, the spider is just like you, which, like, is she saying that her son is as creepy as a spider? I mean, I think that's completely ridiculous. He is at least twice as creepy as a spider. Yeah, and she, like, coos to it and everything. But yeah, he, you know, goes back, sees Dedra, like, you know, we have an hour. Only an hour? Turn out the lights. Turn out the lights, you know. I think I have an idea of what they're gonna do in the dark together for 1 hour. This couple who've been apart for some time and may not get another chance anytime soon. They're going to turn on one light and do shadow puppets. But the... okay, not really. The actual thing they're going to do, I'll tell you when you're older. Yeah, Star Wars is not the most willing to get to go there. Outside of the, you know, solo movie. Yeah. Cyril and Dedra going to the, yeah, her superior, you know, and like, he's like a little puppy, like, oh, can you believe this? And Dedra's like, I have strong reason to believe in the veracity of this intel, you know, and the thing, you know, Cyril's like, you know, they're even, you know, they're as eager as they are, you know, what's it called, like, they're noobs, basically, you know. And then the, you know, her superior's like, interesting how those two tend to go together. And Cyril doesn't even get that he's just been insulted, like, you know, he's like, yeah, you wouldn't know. And, you know, Cyril's just like, oh yeah, totally. Just amazing. Yeah. I seriously was not expecting to get this invested in, like, Imperials. Yeah, and the thing about, you know, would it ruin this if I said this was the happiest day of my life? And she's like, it's nice to see you in a good mood, you know, just like, she genuinely cares. Like, this is such a perfect moment for her to, like, drop a sick burn, like, you know, that's my boss. Do you realize how embarrassing it was that you were talking like that to my boss? Next time, just let me do the talking, you know, but just, no, just genuinely happy that he's happy. And yeah, you know, him being happy did not end with the happy ending. So speaking of, was that supposed to be like a joke? Because, like, you know, Andor goes up, you know, knocks on the thing, and like clearly the noises, it sounds like there's something amorous going on, and then, you know, she calls him out, and it's like this big guy, and he's not conventionally attractive, although by Star Wars standards, I mean, I'm sure they have a completely different set of you know. Was that supposed to be a, like, you know, she's sleeping with someone who's not attractive? I don't know. Maybe I watch too much crap where that would be the joke. I hope Star Wars is not making. I honestly think let's just retire. You know, oh, I don't want to picture those two in that kind of situation. Jokes. Let's see. Yes, even for Trump, criticize his politics, not his body. I think that does. I mean, I said the video was going to be rated TV-14. Yeah. I think that covers everything with Cyril and Dedra. So a couple more things on the Gorman front, where everything is not quiet. Andor, you know, yeah, genuinely clever. They're saying, you know, he's got the little, you know, head, you know, yeah, the listening, you know, he's got his audiobooks on Parrot. That joke only makes sense if he's a pirate. Anyway, yeah, you know, he goes there and, you know, talks to the guy at the hotel. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm just naturally curious. I do, you know. And yeah, the guy comes out and actually opens up to him. And yeah, like, holy crap, the massacre does sound like, I am 100% behind the Gorman. Like, you know, there's that thing about, oh, you know, did the Gormans have to kill this Imperial person who was just performing a check? Like, I'm thinking, yeah, like, I'm leaning towards, like, holy crap, the goal to even, like, send someone, unless it's like an emergent, like, if you're gonna send someone to a planet where your people did a massacre, like, at this point in the timeline, Grand Moff Tarkin has a lot of power. You know, it's not like he's, you know, in some dark corner that no one, you know, no one has anything. No, he, you know, he gets the Death Star once it's built. Like, the whole, yeah, this is not some kind of, you know, they didn't demote him. They might have actually promoted him, you know. Might have been like, good effort. Yeah, that's how you show him who's boss. And then they send someone else from the Empire who almost definitely did say or do something horrible. Like, yeah, holy crap. Yeah, and Andor, you know, he goes to the cafe, and, you know, I am not, I do not remember all these names, but one of the Rylans, you know, walks up to him, and, you know, like, he takes her to school, just like, what are you doing with this? You know, the guy's following me. I spotted them immediately. They're just drawing attention to themselves, you know. Do better. And yeah, you know, he points out, I could be ISB, I could be a snitch. You don't know, and you met me in a public place. And it's just like, yeah. There was also a great little, like, crap just got real moment when the other guests, you know, get up and walk out. At first, I was thinking, like, is this like a, you know, Game of Shadows kind of thing? Are we, you know, was that planned? But no, apparently it was just random. But it does make it more likely that, you know, one of them, if they feel sufficiently threatened, might actually engage in violence there. So, yeah. Let's see. And, yeah, you know, he recommends against action, and yeah, points out, no, but this is what they do, though. This is what the Empire, you know, or the ISB specifically, you know, lure people. You're falling for it, you know. let's see. Yeah, and genuinely such a clever the fact that Cyril, he does seem like he's either the best or worst case for this kind of spy turncoat deal, because he was dishonorably discharged, to the max, and he now either hates the Empire and wants to see him fall on account of that, because like personal grievance, or, and this is of course what they're reluctant to admit that this might be the case, he's all the more determined, and this we know to be the truth, to prove himself to the Empire. He's going to have to do something incredible to really, get in good with them. I think that might cover Cass himself. I'm 50-50 on whether or not it was like code when he goes to, he's like, I want to go to Gorman, and she says, crap, I don't remember the exact words, but just it sounded like a kind of code and let's see, code phrase and answer, and it does culminate in him getting to travel. Let's see, I think the stuff with Bix, just, I really appreciated Luthen, I mean, he needs her healthy, it's not personal concern. I was not expecting him to actually check up on her. I thought he was just pulling Andor's leg. But he goes to see her, and she's like, you're here to ask for something, you changed your mind, what is it? As he says, your eyes are still sharp. But the thing about, so this little thing that you use, and she's like, just to sleep, and he's like, once you stop, the nightmares come back worse. And I forget if that's true specifically of PTSD in the real world outside of the Star Wars galaxy, but there definitely are things where, you cannot use that substance forever for peace, and as soon as you stop, it's going to get so much worse. So, let's see, but and oh my god, the moment that, he shows up and she's like, no, and he's like, no, I'm not, Cass is okay. And I just want there to be an outtake where she goes, no, I figured that, I really don't want to talk to you right now. And the morning show, oh my god, like, it could not be more like state media under any circumstances. I can't be the only person who saw that and thought, so, I mean, that's like the Capitol kind of clothing and hair and such. Like, that felt more like that than Star Wars. Like, right, Hunger Games, for those who are not super familiar with it. But that was good. And the thing, I want to talk parties, political parties. Oh, so just what's the term? Brain rot is once it's happened, right? Brain rotting, I think, is what the kids these days call crap like that. Yeah. And Bix is lying there watching it, and she's got the gun, like, just, God, expecting to need it. I think that does bring us nicely to, Luthen and Clea, and, like, this is one of those shows where the problems for the characters, for the good guys, just keep piling up. Skulden found one. This was one mistake, and now he's gonna have every art piece checked. They're gonna find the microphone, because Luthen obviously bugged Skulldun. And I don't mean like annoyed him, I mean placed a bug. And yeah, and Clea even tries to set up, because, you know, Skulldun's person comes by, and she's like, we could gift you this. We could, I mean, maybe we could try. I don't want to promise anything, because we are super busy. But just, like, hypothetically, maybe we could show up, like, immediately and get unsupervised access to the room where you keep all these art pieces, please? And she says no. And she thinks she's doing Clea a favor, because you know, and like Clea can hardly, like, if Clea keeps insisting, you know, this woman's gonna be like, what is going on here? You know, she might not think spy, but like, you know, Clea has to be, yeah, they're gonna have to get access during the party, even though they're not installing anything. They're gonna have to get access to the piece they brought in without anyone looking, so they can remove the microphone. Just, oh my god. Yeah. And you know, the argument between Clea and Luthen, and, you know, I quite appreciate she was able to keep a cool head. Like, she raised her voice a few times, but she never said, like, he is basically, you know, he says, we're drowning, or I'm drowning, something like that, you know, someone's drowning. And it is not like going home. Yeah, you know, he is overwhelmed here. And, you know, like, okay, at one point she says, you're becoming insufferable. But other than that, she's focused, you know, she keeps trying to get him to focus too, so they can brainstorm a solution and deal with this, you know. Let's see. And yeah, you know, throughout the history of spycraft, of course, every so often someone finds, you know, for example, a bug, some, you know, something belonging to one of the spies, and it can really ruin the operation. And yeah, they point out, you know, we should prepare, you know, we should be prepared. They didn't even need Jeremy Irons to sing talk to them to know that. Yeah, genuinely, like, holy crap. I'm not sure they're gonna be able to, because, like, I know they're good, but that is tall order. I guess that's the one thing they've gotten over the years from this bug, is finding out, oh, we're screwed. Wonderful. We used the bug to find out they're gonna find the bug. It's just, yeah. I think that I feel like there's something else that right, really like the scene between Cass and the Rylands in the actual store, the thing when, you know, there are no bugs in here, we sweep daily, and, like, okay, I mean, it's that or vacuum, slightly less frequently, but yeah, the thing about, oh, it's actually really competitive field, so, you know, everybody sweeps for bugs. I like to imagine that they, like, try to make eye contact with some of their competitors, like, I am watching you, I know, you know, I'm sweeping for bugs, because you probably try to place one, and we're gonna find it, and you're not gonna get anything. But yeah, the little details that come, and the way that, the entire family's in on it, so, you know, one of them takes the coat, and it's the same, someone brings, like, a drink, and you know, they each, you know, contribute a little bit of information. I think that might just about, I think that does just leave the Saw stuff. Is there anything else? Because I do want to make sure I say the stuff about him. I'm saving that for last. I think everything else has been sufficiently covered. Right, I like the line with, you know, so, Skulldun. Good news? That's gonna have to wait. Just, yeah. I like the detail that, like, some of the bugs, yeah, it was, like, she managed to get some really important information, but some of it was also just like, yeah, I mean, they plant bugs in the places of rich people, so some of it was just this banal chatter, you know. I think that does just leave Saw. Yeah, always great to see Saw. Glad I saw Saw. Yeah, that whole thing, like, holy crap, you know, because, like, you know, nope, you're gonna have to stay here and teach, you know, this guy all the combinations, and, you know, the thing went, well, great, you just blew it, we're all dead. And, yeah, like, the holy crap, like, safe cracking drill for gas equipment, like, holy crap, but yeah. And really tense, like, they're, you know, and like, Saul, of course, picks this exact moment to talk about, like, this horrible thing that happened in his past, like, holy crap. Yeah, the, so the guy, you know, goes over, yeah, I do briefly want to say, I love this show attention to detail. This thing of, like, you know, we're seeing this thing being roasted on a spit, and the metal kind of spit, not the kind we produce with our mouths, and the mouths, not mouse. Although I suppose they might produce it as well. But, you know, he you know, breaks off a little piece, and the actor is able to, like, take a bite and start chewing. I mean, I'm not saying I've seen other productions do it before. I'm not saying it's like, wow, how did they even do that? Like, no, you know, I get it. The rest of it is obviously a prop. There's some fake flames there. They just put the thing on and attached it, and he's able to break it off, and it's some kind of, you know, something edible. Not necessarily an edible, but yeah. But it just really helps. Like, this little detail that, you know, that's how the entire camp there is fed, off this you know, freshly roasted meat. And yeah, seeing just this little thing, because it didn't need to be there. Like, a lesser production would have had him just walk past, you know, or like pick it up and then, like, put it, you know, like, it's become a joke at this point, the conspicuously empty coffee cup, you know, and this is like the opposite of that. Like, no, they actually, he's eating something Star Warsy. It's awesome. Let's see, yeah, and he's, you know, intently watching the guy he's teaching, and, you know, he goes up to, like, I don't know if I can remember all this stuff, which is a good detail, because he keeps saying that. He said that to the teacher as well. And he also, it's these little subtle things. He keeps asking, who did teach you? Where did you learn this? Is it at all possible that I could find this person who knows incredibly sensitive information and, I don't know, introduce him to one of my Empire buddies, maybe? And, you know, he goes up to Saw and he's like, so, where are we dropping, boys? What exactly is the plan? Is it at all possible that I could get something, and can you speak directly into my vest? And like, just, yeah, and Saw gives him the wrong advices, and then he, you know, like, yeah, I think he knows. Do you think? Or do you know? You know, which is very do or do not. And he's like, neither. Which is a wonderfully, like, I don't know, does he just have a terrible case of nobody tells him what to do? But yeah, the you know, then he shoots the trainee, and he's like, traitor. And, you know, Tubes goes up, see? He had a transmitter. And it's so freaking clever, because, like, he basically trusted the teacher to not do anything rash. And once he already had the gun drawn, the blaster drawn, he just has to move it slightly and then fire. And the trainee is not going to have time to make any kind of move because he thinks it's the teacher about to be shot. And he's Imperial, so he's like, saves us the trouble of shooting him, you know. Just, yeah, holy crap. And yeah, they go to the other place, and the right on, I think, you know, it's right on or died on. And yeah, you know, this bit of backstory of Saul, like, yeah, no wonder that he is, you know, there's actually, IMDb trivia expands on, I'm not going to go too much into it, but apparently, I you know, skimmed it, apparently that's part of why he's so erratic and paranoid, the exposure to that. And yeah, I could absolutely see that. And yeah, like, the teacher takes off his mask and, you know, like, screams as it burns. Like, holy crap, what an ending. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and also, like, genuinely chilling when, you know, he straight up, like, the trainee is like, well, shouldn't we send him back to Luthen? Like, people are waiting for him. Or I think that might have been a different line. Anyway, but yeah, you know, and so it's just like, accidents happen. Have you not played one of the last 5 Hitman games?